You can massage, you can bath, but if you don't get good sleep, you're not going to recover. Hello and welcome back to my channel. Ben is running. I hope your training is going well. Apologies for the lack of videos recently. My training has been pretty full on, as well as work. But in today's video, we're going to be talking about how I taper for a 5/10k race. For me, this is a race week that I'm currently filming this on now. I've got a race in 6 days now for the Essex 5,000 metre championship. I'm running in the A race, and I'll make a race day vlog, so that'll be the next one. The race I'm doing is on track, so I'm going to be wearing spikes. It's only my second ever track 5k. The other was a few weeks ago. I'll leave a link to, if you want to watch the race, in the description. One of the guys who was in the race, I believe he came third, called Connor, also has a YouTube channel. He filmed the entire race, so you can see me kick with about 100 meters to go and take the win. And I ran in the 5k in 16:02, so it wasn't quite a PB for me. My PB is 15:47, so it wasn't quite a PB, but it was a good tactical race, a good experience, and my first ever 5k in spikes. So yeah, go check it out in the description if you want to. But yeah, today's video is how I prepare basically for these races, the week and 10 days leading up to these races, to make sure that I'm as fresh as I can be, as fast as I can be on race day basically. So today's video is going to be split into 3 sections. First of all, I'm going to go over my week structure, and what I mean by this is how I plan my week in the lead up to a race, when I have my rest days, when I do my last session, that sort of thing. In the second part of the video, I'm going to go on how I promote recovery. So for example, using a massage gun, which I'll go into a bit more detail later. And the third and final part will be some top tips that I have picked up along the way of tapering for these races. You can see some of the race numbers here. I've made a bit of an effort here with some running memorabilia in the background, if you like. I'd like to get one of them medal hangers, maybe put some medals up here. But yeah, just sitting in the kitchen with a shoe and my race numbers. Hope you like the new setup. So yeah, that's today's video. Without further ado, let's get into it. For races, I like to work back from the actual race day itself. So the day before, I don't like to have a rest day. I'll talk more about that later in my top tip section. I like to do around a 30 minutes easy run, keeping that heart rate nice and low, and do a few strides. If you're not familiar with strides, these are sort of like 15-second bursts, sprints if you like, improve your running efficiency. I like to do this the day before the races. I just feel it gets my legs ready to run fast, and used to, say, a race pace. You can go at race pace just for that 15 seconds. Then I'll stop, turn around, maybe wait 30 seconds and do it again. I never really measure these out or time these. It's just something I do at the end of my easy run the day before. So 2 days before, I like to have a complete rest day. I've just found that works best for me. If I rest the day before a race, so on the Saturday for a Sunday race, I sometimes feel a bit lethargic, so I like to take my full rest day 2 days before the actual race. I just find that's best for me. My legs feel freshest when it comes to the race. Again, in this video, I'm just going to be talking about how I taper for a race. And it won't necessarily work for you, but hopefully you can take some tips away. So working backwards to day 3 and day 4, I like to do just easy runs, around 45 minutes to an hour. Nothing complicated. Go as slow as you want. Make sure you don't go too fast though, because you don't want to be carrying any fatigue into the race. So I usually do around 10 to 12 kilometers at around between 5-minute kilometers and 4:30 kilometers. That's sort of my easy pace. And 5 days before, I like to do my tune-up session, tuner session if you like. 5 days before is when I found my legs can recover. I can do a session but also recover in time for that race day 5 days later. I once did a session 4 days before a 10k race. I started the race and I could still feel that session from 4 days before. So 5 days is my sort of go-to at the moment, and I like to do a shorter, faster session So I like to adapt the sessions that I do throughout my training block. So for example, a common one I do is 10 by a kilometre. Instead of doing 10 reps, I'll do 6 reps, so 6 times a K, and then I'll throw in maybe 4 times 400 meters at race pace at the end. So I like to make the overall volume of the workout slightly shorter, focusing on the race pace, and yeah, it gets me ready for that race day in 5 days time. And that's pretty much how I structure my week. In terms of mileage, this is a common question people ask, how do you taper in terms of mileage? My general rule of thumb is I like to reduce my mileage by about 50 to 60% in the 10 days before my race. So if I'm running 120 kilometers a week, which is a typical week in a 5-10k training block, quite a high mileage, but that's what I kind of like to do. So say if I was running 120 in a race week, I probably would run around 60 to 70 kilometers. Again, you just want to make sure your body's nice and fresh, and yeah, ready to race fast, because you don't want to be carrying any fatigue basically. And yeah, that sums up the first section of the video, how I structure my week. Hope that gives you a little bit of a rough idea of how to maybe structure your taper week. Okay, section 2 is how I promote recovery, make sure I'm fresh. So the first thing I like to do is, like I said, reduce the mileage. That in itself is going to make your body feel a lot fresher, and I use the rule 50 to 60%, but again, try what works for you. You might work best at 80%, you might work best at 20%. It is really different for everyone, and it depends on your training style, how many miles you run in a week, that sort of thing. The second thing I like to do in the 10 days before a race is have hot baths. I'm not a fan of cold ice baths. I've tried them a few times, but I just can't last in them. Probably about a minute is the maximum I can do in an ice bath, whereas in a hot bath I can lay there for half an hour. So yeah, I like to use hot baths for my recovery. It just makes sure my muscles are nice and relaxed, promotes recovery, and yeah, in the bath I'll have Epsom bath salts, again to replace the electrolytes and salts you use when you run. Basically your muscles absorb them when you lay in the bath. So yeah, these are the Epsom salts I use at the moment. Just bought them on Amazon. I think they were on offer actually, about £3 a bag, so it's not expensive. I probably have about 3 baths in the 10 days leading up to a race. And the third and final point I like to do to promote my recovery is to use a massage gun. The massage gun I have is by Recovery Fun. It's a really lightweight, portable gun with adjustable speeds. It has 5 speed settings. I tend to use it on setting 3. That just seems to be the sweet spot for me. If I go up to 5, sometimes that can make my legs feel worse, a little bit too much. So I usually use it on setting 3. And yeah, you've got the different types of heads that I use. So the one I use the most is probably the round ball head. It's just softer and I can go around my knees, not have any problems. And I also like the 2-prong one to get really deep into my muscles, especially on my quads, get right in the muscle fibers. And yeah, I like to use a massage gun in my recovery week, usually after my longer runs or my sessions. It just seems to really help promote recovery, and I'll wake up the next day and I'll feel a lot better for doing the massage gun. If you want to check out the massage gun I use, I'll leave a link to the massage gun in the description. You go check it out. So yeah, that's how I promote recovery and freshness in the week leading up to my race. I do all those recovery techniques throughout my training block, but I like to do them more frequently in the week leading up to, just to make sure I'm as fresh as I can be basically. So moving on to the third and final section of this video, it's just some top tips, some things I've picked up along the way from my recent races. The first tip is get a good night's sleep 2 nights before your race. What I found is the night before a race you might be nervous, your sleep is unlikely to be deep sleep, just because you've got that pre-race nerves or you've got an early start. Some of these races I go to, I have to get up at about 5:30, 6. So I try to get a really good sleep 2 nights before, around about 8 hours if I can, just to make sure I've given the body the most time to recover in that sleep period, because that's where your body does all the repairs. You can massage, you can bath, but if you don't get good sleep, you're not going to recover ready for the race. Second top tip is to lay out my kit on the floor. I like to do a flat lay of my shorts, my running singlet, my number if I've got it, my watch, my heart rate monitor. Just have it all on the floor, lay it out in front of you. It's just a good mental prep, so that when you wake up in the morning or whenever the race is, you can just put all your kit on or take it with you. You know you haven't forgotten anything, you don't need to think about it, you can just focus on the task at hand, which is performing to your best. And my third tip is to have an A and a B goal going into a race, whether that's a time goal or whether it's simply to complete. So for example, my first 5k race of the year, my A goal was to break 16 minutes and my B goal was 16:30. If I was feeling good, try and push for that 16 minutes. If I wasn't feeling so good, then 16:30 is a B goal. Try and keep these realistic, but also you want to push yourself. I ended up getting my B goal. I think I ran about 16:15, so I was happy, got the B goal. Didn't quite get the A goal, but that's something to work for next time. And it's just something I like to do in the build up to a race, just to get me ready, to try and do your best basically. So I've got 2 more tips before I wrap up the video. The second to last tip is to avoid complete rest day the day before a race. Just from experience, I've found that if I rest the day before, like don't do any running or any strides or anything, just sit on the couch, I sometimes feel a bit lethargic and slow when it comes to the race day, struggle to get going, that sort of thing. So I'd recommend not having a complete rest day the day before, doing that rest day 2 days before, like I said when I talk about week structure. And my final tip is to do what's best for you and experiment with tapering, because everyone's different. So I've tried different things, like for example, do a session 5 days before, see how you feel. 5 days later, do a session 2 days before, see how you feel 2 days later. You might feel fresher. Everybody's different. So yeah, that is pretty much how I taper for 5 to 10k. These are all things I've picked up along the way, mainly from YouTube videos myself, and from my coach, from my previous coaches, and from my running buddies who are both faster or slower. Like I take inspiration from everywhere, and I put it into this one video, so I hope that you can take something from it. I've recently started a PayPal link where you can donate to the channel. Just helps finance things like shoe reviews, get into races, hopefully making more videos, and working less basically. I make these videos alongside a job. I'm a chef, and any donations help basically work towards making more videos and working less. And yeah, that's pretty much it. If you have enjoyed this video, please leave a like and subscribe for more running related videos. I've got my 5k race in 6 days now, so I'm getting all these tips together to apply to my own training. And yeah, hopefully I can bring you a new PB in the next video. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you again with another one soon. Bye.